Eightfold. Do you believe me? English is a difficult language. Blindfold. This blind ex-hero is milling wheat for his enemy in a public place, and the school children come and see them. And you think that this is the end of him. And this scene ends that his hair starts to grow up as it was before. Where is it? Verse 22, ויחל שיער ראשו לצמח כאשר גולח. Every morning he's trying out whether he has hair, and he sees this, his hair becomes longer and longer, which means in an indirect way that he has still hope for regaining his power. Now, as you remember, there is a feast for Dagon, the deity of the Plishtim, in a huge temple, and it says that 3,000 people stand on the roof, men and women. Why are we interested in women? Because the whole story is about women. So he hears, this blind person hears the voices of men and women, and also the Sarnei Plishtim, the leaders of the military leaders of the Plishtim, all assembled in this building, and they make a poem which is quite primitive. I read to you in Hebrew, and you see immediately that his poetry is much higher than their poetry. ויאמרו נתן אלוהינו בידינו את שמשון אויבינו אשר ירבע את חללינו. You have two versions of it. I read in verse 24, and our God has delivered into our hands the enemy who devastated our land with the foxes, and who slew so many of us, these 1,000 people. So they are very happy and they are very religious. They are praising their God, which he didn't do unless till God sent him the thirst. And here they say, let us enjoy our victory by bringing the defeated hero of the Hebrews, and he will, in the English translation it says, he will dance for us. Letzachek, which is, from the point of view of a biblical vocabulary, this is a possible translation, but I don't believe that Shimshon was a dancer. Was dancing? No, Shimshon was doing acrobatics for them. Or he was showing his strength. You know, he was always doing all kinds of public demonstration. You say no, feats, right. So here all these people are gathered around, and poor Shimshon is showing his regained strength by doing all kinds of tricks. And when he gets tired, he says to the boy who is leading him, let me lean against the pillars upon which the roof is standing. And here Shimshon is doing his second prayer. The first prayer was after the victory upon the 1,000 people. And this is his second prayer in all his career. I mean in the story. I don't speak about life, I speak in the story. And I'll read it in Hebrew and then we'll read it in English. This is verse 29. וילפות שמשון את שני עמודי התווך אשר הבית נכון עליהם, וישמח עליהם אחד בימינו ואחד בשמאלו. And he rested. What does he do? He embraced the two middle pillars, and he is holding them with his two hands, and then he is praying, ויאמר שמשון, no, where it is? No, it is verse 28. ויקרא שמשון אל אדוני ויאמר, אדוני אלוהים, זוכרני נא וחזקני נא, אך הפעם הזה, האלוהים, וינקמה נקם אחת משתי עיניים מפלישתים. This is the verse from which we can see whether all my lesson was right or wrong. If I was wrong, Shimshon will say, please God, regain my power so that I can give the final stroke on the enemies of Israel. Right? It will be a religious, national prayer. What does he say? Give me all, please remember me, and give me strength just this once, oh God, to take revenge of the Plishtim, if only for one of my 2 eyes? What does it mean? For sure, it's a very personal prayer. He thinks only about himself. And he says, if you give me this final strength, because I will die with them, for sure. This will be a revenge for one of my 2 eyes. Which means there are 3,000 people here, if I reckon rightly, it's 6,000 eyes. This is a true revenge, not for my 2 eyes, for my 1 eye. This is an arrogant, lonely hero who says, whoever dared to touch my eyes should remember this forever. 6,000 eyes are not enough for my 2 eyes. If you remember Lemech in the book of Breshit, we spoke about him last year, he says, Ki sheva yukam Kain velemech 77. If somebody touches Cain, he will be revenged 7-fold. But if you touch Lemech, it will be 77-fold revenge. כי איש הרגתי לפצעי וילד לחבורתי, for I'll kill a person for my wound, for wounding me, and a child for doing me harm. This is a person who believes deeply in the legacy of in the Torah of the Plishtim. That you have to be strong and to take revenge ruthlessly, without any limitations. And the stronger your revenge, the more impressive it will be. So here he stands and prays for his 1 eye. And God accepts this prayer because God is fighting for Israel and not for Shimshon. If God would have liked to educate Shimshon, he wouldn't accept his prayer because it's an ugly prayer. I hope you feel that it's a very ugly prayer. But God is fighting for Israel through Shimshon escaping him. So he says, Tamot nafshi im Plishtim, let me die with the Plishtim, and he regains his tremendous power, and the house, what does it say? And the house fell on all these Plishtim, and it says in Hebrew, והיו המתים אשר המית במותו, רבים מאשר המית בחייו, and those who were slain by him as he died outnumbered those who had been slain by him when he lived. Which means, really, this is a tragic summing up. He was not able to live as a savior of Israel. And he was always fleeing from his destiny and his mission. So in his death, he killed more than during all his lifetime. So if people tell you, or you read in the newspapers, that the first suicide bomber was Shimshon, and you feel a little uneasy, you know, in Moscow, such a person killed 35 innocent people. And you say, they are all disciples of Shimshon. It's very unpleasant to hear this. I mean it. The answer to this is, what does the book of Judges or the narrator of our story want to tell us? that this is the way to fight? Just wars? No. He wants to tell us that a person who was not able to fight the fights of Israel as a leader fled from his mission, and the mission came after him, how do you say, followed him, and he killed in his death more than he killed in his life. I don't know whether you have attended recently weddings where youngsters sing this song. And they have a melody which I don't know, and they say, God, how do you say? In Akman ekam achad miplishtim, they say Palestinian. Let us have revenge on the Palestinian for one of their eyes which they took us from us. This is really tragic, you know. This is scandalous. Imagine you go to America and you give a lecture. How does the Torah, the Bible, treat a Jewish Hercules? The answer is with criticism. Unbelievable. With criticism. He is not glorified. We have such a hero in our history. The book of Judges doesn't say, look, we have Shimshon, he's almost like David, he is a great man. No. He's a man who is endowed by God with all the power which he needs. And he wastes it. So if you hear in weddings that people try to praise the ugly side of Shimshon, don't remain silent. I mean it. The story ends with some kind of positive note. וירדו אחיו וכל בית אביהו וישאו אותו ויעלו ויקברו אותו בין צורה ובין אשתאול בקבר מנוח אביו והוא שפט את ישראל 20 שנה. So after his death, the Zaka people, how do you call them? Zaka? The people who are courageous enough to deal with dead people, his brothers say no. He deserves to be buried. He died with the Plishtim. But he deserves, at least after his death, we make a correction for his life. Wonderful brothers. So they go to this debris, I don't know how you say in English, and they dig among all the Plishtim, and they found this brother of them, and they take him and bury him in Tzorah, in the burial place of his father, Manoach. Finally, he returned to his people. Toda Rabba.
If there are people who would like to stay, a couple of questions, not more than that.
Okay,
thank you.